Are you superstitious?
I am not superstitious, but I'd rather not do anything on Friday the 13th. But I'm not superstitious, though.
All right. What's the worst you've been injured?
I would have to say an old sports injury. I injured my knee and tore my ACL.
What job have you had that you hated the most?
You know what, I have to say that the job that I hated the most was growing up. My first job was in a furniture factory, loading recliners in the back of an 18-wheeler. I hated every second of it. And that made me decide that I wanted to, you know what, do something different. And I don't know, now that you got me thinking about this, a good question. I don't know how many of you guys remember, because you guys are young, but Hardee's, the restaurant, the fast food chain, they used to sell chicken. And I was one of their first chicken fryers. And I hated it. But, you know, it's all right.
What's the most boring thing you have to do on a daily basis?
This interview. No, actually, the most boring thing that I'd have to do on a daily basis is probably my drive home and to work, since I have to travel down Nicholasville Road. So, coming and going. I hate that.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you want grilled cheese in this exact moment?
0. I'm not a big cheese eater, and I don't like a lot of cheese. It just depends on what it is. I might like a cheeseburger. Outside of that, I don't really eat cheese.
What's the stupidest thing you ever done?
Well, since I'm pretty smart, I don't really do any stupid things. So, that would probably... Nothing. I've never done anything stupid.
Okay. What is something that scares you?
Something that scares me, Ruth Ann Willis. Scares me.
If I gave you a puppy, what kind of noise would you make?
Oh.
What is the last thing you purchased?
The last thing I purchased was, actually, this morning I purchased this apple at Kroger. And I'm going to have it for my snack here after a while.
If you could be amazing at one thing, what would it be?
Singing.
What is the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you that you're willing to tell us?
The most embarrassing thing to me that I'm willing to tell you. I'd have to definitely think about that. The most embarrassing thing that I'm willing to tell you. This is one of my most embarrassing moments, I would think, is I used to be the assistant principal at Henry Clay High School. And I don't know, a lot of people may be familiar with another associate principal of mine at the time was Paul Little, and he's 6'10" or 6'11". But we were walking down the hall one day, and he decided that, you know what, we were walking together, and he said, Mr. Stanfield, I can take my foot and kick the top of that door frame. I said, I'm sure you can, and I can too. So we got to the door frame, and he stopped, and he kicked his foot, and he hit the top of that door frame. And so it was my turn. And so I stopped, and I put my foot up, and I kicked the top of that door frame. But in the midst of my kick, my pants ripped from the bottom all the way up and all the way around to the other leg's bottom. So it was pretty embarrassing. So I had to leave work and go and buy a new pair of pants.
Can you smell what the Rock is cooking?
I cannot smell what the Rock is cooking.
How many moose have you befriended?
How many who?
Moose have you befriended?
How many moose have I befriended?
Yes.
1. She's my aunt.
Unicorns or narwhals?
Since I don't know what a narwhal is, I'm going to say a unicorn.
If you had an arch nemesis, what would his superpower be?
His superpower would probably be to be invisible.